Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. In today's lecture, we are going to start with the use of a software called Stata, which is very useful in econometrics and statistics. The software enables you to quickly get results in proper format for regressions, correlation, data analysis, structural equation modeling, etc. So today's lecture focuses on beginning in Stata, to start with Stata, and to understand how to work in the Stata environment. So first of all, note that Stata is a software that you can purchase by viewing the website stata.com. There are graduate plans on that website which are available for students especially. If you purchase a plan for say 6 months, it's the cheapest, and you can use Stata's real copy and use it for your software analysis, for data analysis, for regression analysis, for all econometrics that you have been studying and you are going to study in future. So this software is very powerful. It incorporates all the types of regression modules and structural equation modeling, and has graphs as well. Whatever you think of in econometrics almost can be done in this software. It has different versions, like Stata 13 is the latest. So we can use Stata 13 IC or SE depending on whatever your requirements are. So if you have the requirement to just analyze data and you don't have many variables and thousands of variables and very heavy files, then you can use lighter versions of Stata, and that's not very expensive. So first of all, look at two website addresses that are useful for you. You are seeing the first address, which is www.stata.com. This is the official website of Stata Corporation. And the second address that you are seeing is stata.com/order new edu grad plans. Grad plan is a graduate plan. So if you click on this or you browse this website, this part of the website, you will find different plans which you can assess. If they are suitable for your needs, you can purchase them. So you can have perpetual license and you can have a time limited license. So it's up to you, how do you decide, and it's not very expensive. So first of all, remember that Stata has different windows displayed in the same window. You can change the configuration, but I would prefer and suggest that you don't change the configuration at the moment. You let the windows remain as they are, at least during the process of learning Stata. Secondly, this is the first lecture in Stata, but I would request you also from the next lecture, if you have Stata in hand, you can just use Stata, although we are going through the lectures, but you will need it at the time of the lecture if you want to learn Stata quickly. So in today's lecture, you don't have Stata probably, but if you don't have, no problem. You view the lecture. When you get hand of Stata, you practice all the things. Maybe you have to view it again. So the first picture that you would see on the screen is of the normal Stata environment, which has different windows. Please look at the screen. You have, say, different windows here. At the top, you have Stata IC 13.1. This is the overall window of Stata. On the right, you have a variable window. When you open some files, whether they are system files or whether they are files that you download from the internet or whether they are files that you have yourself created, if you open it, you will have a list of variables and their labels over here. So this first variable window is empty at the moment. This means that no file is open. Below that, you have a properties window where you have the properties of variables, whether they are numeric or what is their display format, what are the value labels, what is the name of the variable, etc. On the left, you have a review window. In fact, whatever command you will type in or whatever command you will use with the help of graphic user interface above. So if you click on, say, file or edit or data or graphics or statistics and perform some operation, you will have some command written along with the operation before the result. So whatever you perform, whatever commands you type in and enter, you will be seeing them in this review window as commands. So you can go back to these commands and instead of typing them again, click on them and run them again, etc. In the middle, you are seeing a big window, which is an output window. Whatever results you have, you will get in this window. So you have some license information and copyright information over here, the Stata website address, the email that if you need some help. Whatever results you have, you will have in this window. So in this window, you can't modify anything, but you will only be able to see whatever results you have. You can copy these results and paste somewhere else. You can even export them. The regression results, for example, can be exported in proper format in Microsoft Excel or other format. So, but you can't modify the output window. Below the output window, you have a command window. You will be typing your commands and whatever you need from Stata in this window, and you will enter and get the results. So in fact, you have, at the moment, you have 5 different windows. One is the output window. On the right, you have a variable window, then a properties. On the left, you have the review window in which you have the commands, whatever you type, as you will see in some time. And below the output window, you have a command window in which you will type whatever you want, your commands, your functions, your requirements that you want Stata to do. You will type them in shape of different commands which are given in Stata. You can seek help and know about the commands. We'll be starting with very basic commands today. So this is the basic window of Stata that you will be seeing whenever you open your Stata. Let's see the window again. The output window shows the version of Stata, the license information, all the results, and the outputs of the execution of Stata commands. As I told you, you can copy the results and paste them. You can export the results in some format like Excel, etc. In the properties, you basically have variable properties, which include the variable name, the variable display format, because maybe the variable is stored in some other way and is displayed in some other way. And you have the labels of the variables, etc. Then you have a variable window. You will see all the variable names over here. Whatever file is open in the memory, you will see their variables in this variable window. On the left, you have the review window. As I told you, it will show all the commands that you type in. Then at the end, you have a command window. Whatever you type, you order Stata to do is typed in here. So first, let's speak about some basic information on this software. So we have different files in Stata. For example, the data file that you save or is available with Stata, or you can download from the internet, has an extension of .dta. The files with an extension .dta mean they are a Stata format. They are Stata data types format. You have log files, .log or .smcl extension. .log is better because you can open it in Notepad, etc. So these are the files that record whatever activity you perform in Stata. For example, you type some commands, get some results. Although you don't have graphs in this log file, but you will be able to record your session and look into the file again. You can enter commands and get your results, and they will be saved automatically in a log file if you have asked Stata to do so. And then you can look at it later on. You also have files with an extension .do files. If you have several commands to run at the same time and you have saved them, you want to run them again, you can have a do file. The do file has all the commands that you will type in one by one, and you can execute them at once. You can click and execute them. All of them will be executed one by one. You don't need to type every time. So sometimes you record your session, you give some commands, you have some results. So you record the commands in a do file, and you just can send the data file and do file to someone else, and he will just run the do file, and all the commands will be executed, and you will have the same results replicated again. So you have others as well. For example, in some time we will be going to open different files in Stata, the data files, the .dta files. So remember that presently we'll speak of 3 types of files. One will be the files that are shipped with Stata, that you have with your Stata. There are some system files, some data files already available to make you learn Stata, to understand the Stata commands, etc. We'll be using those files. I would request you not to modify these files and don't save them. For example, if you modify some variables, just say close them without saving so that they remain in the original format. So these are called system files. We'll be using sysuse command to open these files. Also, you may have files that are stored at your hard disk, the files that you have created or you have copied from somewhere. You open these files by using a use command. We'll come to in some time to learn about it. You also can use files directly from the internet by using the web use command. So Stata is able to download the file and load it into the memory, and you can use it and get your results. So presently, let me tell you that you will be dealing with 3 types of files. One, the ones which are on your hard disk, which you have created or copied. Second, which are shipped with Stata. I can call them system file, although they are not system files, they are data files. So they are the files which are given with Stata, shipped with Stata in order to learn Stata, and they have good range of variety of data. So you have files on your hard disk, you have files given with Stata, and you have files that you may download from the internet. Many files and modules are available that you can download. So if you know that there is a file on the web, you just type web use and the file name, and if you have internet working on, you'll get your file downloaded on your hard disk, and it will be loaded in the memory. You can save it and use it later on. So these are the three basic types of data that we are dealing in. You may have other data files. For example, you may have Excel data file. You can import that file into Stata. You can use that into Stata. Sometimes you can just even copy from Microsoft Excel and paste in Stata. For example, the questions that you have been dealing in the previous lectures, you can just copy that data and paste it into Stata. But this is not a safe option. There are commands which you will learn how to import properly from Microsoft Excel. You may have raw data files or CSV files which can be read by Stata. So there is a software called Stat Transfer that transfers one data format to another data format. So you can do that as well. So don't worry if you have data in other formats. It can be converted and it can be sometimes directly used in Stata. So again, let me request you at the end that don't modify the files that are already given with Stata. So you always have them in the normal or given format. So better create a master copy of them. Stata has two types of ability to use it. One is called a graphic user interface, and the second is a command line interface. You can click and do your job, which is very easy, user friendly, as you do in Microsoft Excel, for example. For example, you are seeing on the screen edit, and then a small window, a list opens with copy, copy table, table copy options, find, next. This is a graphic user interface. So it's very easy, it's user friendly. You can find your required command and just click. With several clicks, you will have your results if the data file is open. But there is a command line interface as well, and in my opinion, it is better to use the command line interface. By that I mean, just type your command. It will have the same result, but when you type your commands, slowly you will remember the commands. And that's easier, that is quicker, that is faster. Because once you know them, you will just type and get your results. For the same results, you may have to click several times, like 6, 7, 8 times, and then fill in some information. So you have two types of ability to use Stata. One is through by clicking, which I call a graphic user interface. It's very good in Stata. But normally the programmers and researchers use the command window. They type in it. It's easier and quicker. Especially if you later on want to program in Stata. Stata has the ability. You can make your own modules, create your modules and add into Stata. For that, you need to know the commands, in fact. So it's better to start as a beginner by typing in the commands instead of using the graphic user interface. Although both are available for you, you can use them safely. So the first example that you are seeing of the graphic user interface shows that you have different, say, I can call them icons or buttons: file, edit, data, graphics, statistics, user window, help, etc. So you click on them and you have a list. You click on it further on the list and you get your required results. For example, you can say edit and copy. That will copy something. Edit, and at the end you can see preferences. You can change the font size, preference, the color. So the basic color scheme here you are seeing may be white, but I'll change it later on to darker colors so you can see easy display on the television. So if you click on edit and preferences, you can change your font size, your font color, your background color, etc. Now the other example that you are seeing shows how you can use basic statistics and regression commands in Stata by just clicking on the graphic user interface. For example, you are seeing that we have clicked on statistics, then on linear models and related, and we have another list. Presently the cursor is seen on the linear regression. If you click on linear regression, there will be a small window that will open. You will be asked to fill in the dependent variable, the explanatory variables, and other options that you would like to do with regression, and then you will click OK and get your results. So you clicked 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and maybe you have to fill in some information. Instead of doing this 4 times, you can just type, you will know later on that the command for regression is just reg, the dependent variable, regress dependent variable on the explanatory variables, and you get your results. So it is quicker and faster and easier if you know the commands. So I would recommend you in the beginning that try avoiding the graphic user interface and try typing so that you can slowly remember all the commands. You can use the graphic user interface if you like. Now you are seeing an example of typing the commands. So if you noticed, the command window is just below the output window in the default format. You can change the size of the windows and the placement of them, but presently keep them as they are. So I have written help describe. So I am seeking help for a command describe. So when I type this and enter, a help window will open and I will be informed about how describe functions, what is the graphic user interface way to use it, how can we use it in different situations using some kind of files, and what does describe actually do, what are the options, etc. So remember, typing command is less time consuming. As you are seeing, we just wrote help and describe. The first benefit is that it is quicker and faster. The second benefit is that slowly you will just remember the commands, and it may be helpful, and this is very important, that if you are programming in Stata or you plan to program later on and master in Stata to create your own modules, it is better to use the typing method. Now let's speak some things about the commands in Stata. They have a special format. Remember, Stata is case sensitive. So you will always type in small English alphabets. If you type in as the first letter is capital, it wouldn't work in Stata. So remember, the commands are in small letters. All the commands are in small letters and have a special format. You can use short names for the commands. For example, you just saw a command help describe. If you type H and space and D for describe, H for help, it will work fine. So H is a shortcut for help, D is a shortcut for describe, or I usually prefer to type DES for describe so that I remember it is describe. So it's very easy, H and space and D and done. So in this way you will be working how to know what is the shortcut for a specific command. For example, how do I know that D is a shortcut for describe? When you say help describe, a help window will open. You will be seeing it in some time. The help window where the syntax is given, where the statement is given how to use the command describe, D will be underlined in describe. That underlined part is the shortcut. So if D is underlined, you know that if you type D, it will work as describe. So sometimes in variables, if you have unique names, then you can type the first part of a variable which clearly identifies which variable is it, and it works fine. You don't need to type all the variable full names. So you can use shortcuts, you will use small alphabets, you can view the syntax and how to use the command in the help window. You can know about the shortcut in that. And also remember that all the commands have options. You may provide Stata with different options that you require to execute the command in a special way. All the options would be given after a comma. For example, you will write the command and the required variable names, etc., and then a comma, and after the comma you will have different options in Stata. So this is how we use all the Stata commands. So we use these commands when we use the command window and type in. If we use the graphic user interface, you don't need to care about that. The first command that we are going to learn is very useful, and you will always be using it in the beginning, and it is help. Remember, all the Stata commands are written in small alphabets. So help, small h, ELP. This command will provide you help about any other command or help itself in Stata. So look at the syntax which you are seeing in a box. That is help. See that H is underlined. This means that if you only write H, Stata will understand it as help. And then you have square brackets. And you have written command or topic inside the square brackets. In the syntax, whenever you have square brackets, it means that this is optional. You may write this topic or command, or no, you can avoid it. And then you have another square bracket. This means this is also optional. And you see comma options. This means if you give options or don't give options, the command will work. Options are not necessary. So if you seek help for the help window, you will see that there is a part called menu which shows you how to use the graphic interface. So you click on help, and on stata command, a small window will open. You will type in the command and say OK, and you will get help on that command. So this is the way we use the graphic user interface for the command help. Let's do that with the typing. So first look at the clicking. So you have help, one click, stata command, second click, then a small window opens, you type in your command, and this takes some time. So you have clicked several times. But if you just write help, help, and enter, you will get help for help. So help is itself a command. So the first help I seek from stata is for this command help. So look at the help window that opens. So you wrote help, help, and entered. You got a help window, a dialog window. It's a help window. It has an extension of .hlp if you look at its file. So first you will have a title of the command. You will have the syntax of the command. If you scroll down, you will have how to use it through the graphic user interface. When you look at menu, you will have some examples. You will have the list of options that you can use with help. So if you have stata at the moment, I would request you to type help, help, and enter and see what window appears. And scroll down and see what are the things that are available in the help window. In almost all the help windows, the style is the same, the structure is the same. You have the title of the command, you have the syntax of the command, you have the description of the command, you have the list of options that you can use with the command after a comma, and you have also description of those options, and you have some examples as well by using system files or files shipped with stata or the files that you have created. You can perform and run the commands and see how to get the results. So you have good examples in all the help windows. For example, if you know that to run a regression, the command is regress, and you don't know how to use it, you will write help regress, and you will get a help window which shows how to use regress and what options are available with this command regress. What is the shortcut for regress? If you don't want to type complete name regress, you have a shortcut. So the help windows are very useful, and this is the first thing that you learn in stata, how to seek help. You can just click on help, and after further clicks you can get your results, but it is better to type. For example, if I type help, help, I'll get the help window for help. If I type help regress, I'll get the help window for the command regress. See, next what we do is help and describe. So in the box you are seeing help, describe, all are in small alphabets. So what we are doing is asking help for the command describe. This time I have changed the background and font colors of stata so that you can easily view them on the slides. So you have a viewer help describe, a viewer window. It opens and shows you some help for the command describe. So as you see, the title is describe, all in small letters. Describes data in memory or in a file. Because if you have no open file, you can just say describe and specify the file name, and it will just describe the data in it. You will see later on. You have a syntax. So look at the syntax. D is underlined. This means instead of typing describe, you can only type D. And then in square brackets, you have variable list. This means if you don't type the list, stata will think that you want description of all the variables. So if you type variable names, as I told you, if you don't type variable names, stata will understand that you require description of all the variables. And if you type some variable name, 1 or 2 or several variable names, then you will have description of only those variables. And then you have another square bracket which shows the memory options. You can type different options. How to know about these options? You will say help and describe, and in the help window scroll down, you will have a list of those options and their description, what the options are and how can you use them in this command describe. So you can use the graphic user interface, or you can just type help and describe and get help for the command describe. So presently our task at the moment is not to describe the command describe. We are just talking about how to use help and what is available in the help windows. So again, in the help windows, whatever you type, help, 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 describe, help, regress, you will have same structure window, identical in, say, in the sense that they have a syntax, they have a title, they have a list of options, and they have examples by using different files. So this is very useful technique. If you want to learn about the commands, you just seek help for the command. So you just learned how to use the command help in two ways. One, you clicked on the help and made several other clicks and you got help for whatever the command. You had a small window, you typed in that window whatever command you needed, for example describe, and you get a help window opened for describe. To describe and its syntax, its options, you got all of them. You can do the same thing by just typing in the command window help describe. That's easier, quicker, faster, and you will come to remember all the commands. So these are the two ways you can seek help for different commands, for all the commands in Stata. So by the way, if you don't know the command, you just type search and whatever you think the command name is, and maybe you get some help on that. But the basic command is help and the command name. Now we'll come to know how to use the files. As you remember, we have mainly three types of files. The first one, which are shipped with Stata, which are included in the package. Although we shouldn't, but I can call them system files. You can use them by the command sysuse or directly use the graphic user interface to open those files. They are simple data files, .dta files that you can use, because now we are going to learn some commands that require the use of some kind of data. So instead of creating data, we'll use these files that are available with the Stata package. The second type of files are the ones that you yourself create and save on your hard disk, or copy from somewhere and save on your hard disk. You can just browse a file and open and browse and find the file and click OK and the file will open. An indication that file will open is that when you look at the variable window, you will have the list of variables loaded in the memory. The third type of files are the ones that you can download from the internet. We'll use the command web use and file name, and you will get the file if your internet is functioning well, and if the file is not very large, you will get it quickly. So the indication that you have got the file or it has been loaded in the memory again is that you will have the variable list in the variable window. So let's speak something about and look how to open a file that is available on your computer or from the web, or the file that is available with Stata. So look at the options that I have given on the screen. That is, you have to open file on your computer, to open file from the web, and then later open file that are given with Stata. For example, to open file on your computer, you will just click on file and then say open. A window will open. You will browse to the location where you saved the file and click OK. Alternatively, as you know, we can just type. We can say use. Use is the command to open the file that is saved on your hard disk. We'll say use, and with full path and file name in inverted commas, you will have the file. Or you will say use path and file name .dta, and the file will open. It will load in memory, in fact. So this is the way you can use this command use. But remember, sometimes you already have some files open in your memory. They are loaded in your memory. You need to clear them. The command is clear. You will type in clear. It will be taken off from the memory. So, but you want to do it in the single command. You will say use path and file name, comma, clear. Remember, all the options are given in Stata after a comma. So clear is also an available option with the command use. So use path and file name, comma, clear. That will first clear the memory and then load the file that you require Stata to load. The second way is to use a file that is available on the web. So the command is web use. You can use it in the same way as use. But if you type the file name, it is sufficient. Stata will understand that it is a .dta file. So for example, on the screen you are seeing, type web use file name, whatever the file name is. If you say, for example, web use Klein, say KLEIN is a file name. So when you type web use Klein, you will wait for a moment, depending on your internet speed, and the file will be loaded from the internet if your internet is working, say, and you will have an indication that the file is loaded by the variable list in the variable window on the right side, which is presently on the right side in the default place. The third type of file that we are going to use now is the files that are available with Stata. The command is sysuse for system use. So sysuse is a command that will open the files that are already available with Stata. They have data. You can exercise on them, you can use them, but I would again request you not to modify them. For example, don't change them and save them. So maybe your examples which you have available in Stata will become irrelevant if you have different results if you modify the files. So I request you not to modify them. So remember, we have three types of commands to open a file. Use to open a file from the hard disk. Web use to open a file on the web, from the web. And sysuse, S-Y-S-U-S-E, all in small letters, to open a file that is available with Stata. For example, you will see this. So if we use the graphic interface, as you see on the right, you will click on File, and you have a list. Below see Example Data Sets. When this small window opens, I have encircled something that is Example Datasets installed with Stata. This is a link. If you click on it, you will get the list of files which you are seeing now on the screen, which are available with Stata. For example, the first one is auto.dta. The second is auto2.dta. You have a long list of files all available or installed with Stata. So in front of each file, you have use or describe. Presently, if you click on use, the command sysuse will be executed and file will open. For example, if you click on use against auto.dta, the file auto.dta will load in the memory. You will have their variable names on the variable window on the right side, you will see in some time. So this is the way you use the graphic user interface to open the system file. So I think this is time consuming. You clicked several times and then you got the file names and you choose your file and then clicked on it. Instead, we can just type some command and get our results. But first we want to know what are the files that are available with Stata or installed with Stata. This command is simple, sysuse dir, dir for directory. When you type in sysuse dir and enter, you will get all the list of files that are available with Stata. For example, if you look at the screen, sysuse dir is what you type, and the result, you have a list of files. For example, auto.dta, auto2.dta, city employment, city temperature.dta, nlsw88.dta. So these all files are installed with this version of Stata that I have. You may have different versions, but you will have a lot of files. Maybe in almost all of them, you have some files like auto.dta. So remember that .dta is an extension of Stata data files. So you typed sysuse space dir for system use directory, and you got the list of files. Now, as you know what files are available, you have the file auto. We'll try to open this file. The typing which we should do is sysuse auto. Remember that here we don't need to type the extension of this auto data file in Stata, because Stata understands that auto is in .dta. If you don't type dot extension, it will be understood as .dta file. If the file is available, it will open. So if you type sysuse and auto and enter, the first thing you will notice is on the right side in the variable windows, you will have a list of variables. A message will appear in the output window as well. The message will be the same sentence that you typed. And after the message appear, if there is no error, this means the file has properly opened. As I told you, variables will be shown in the variable windows. Variable description will be shown in the window below the variable window. And note that all commands that you have been typing previously, for example, help and help and help and describe, and now you typed sysuse and dir and then sysuse and auto, they are appearing, all of them one by one, on the left side in the review window. So if you want to run them, execute them again, you will just click on them, or you will use your keyboard buttons page up and page down. So if you click on page up or page down, you get the previous or latest commands that you had typed, and you just click enter and execute the command again. So there are two ways to access these commands that you have already typed. One, in the review window you have the commands, just click on the command you want to execute again, or just page up, page down and get your required command and say enter, you will get the result. So sysuse auto will open the file auto which is available or installed with Stata. On the screen you are seeing that I have encircled two things. The first one is you typed in command window sysuse auto. Now you have a message in the output window, sysuse auto, a dot before that, and below that you have 1978 automobile data. This is data related to cars and their making and say repairing and length and weight and price. 1978 data. The second thing that you should notice is the second thing that I have encircled. In the variable window, you are seeing various variable names like make, price, MPG, rep 78, etc. Now these variable names presently are in small alphabets, but it's not necessary. The commands should be written in small alphabets, but the variable names can be in any format. For example, capital letters or the first letter capital, or you may have numbers as well in them and characters as well, etc. You may have an underscore as well. So we have this variable name convention. So the first indication of a file opening is that you have a list of variables in the variable window. Now let me add something here. You just typed in sysuse auto, you got the file auto.dta loaded in your memory. No error message occurred. This was because you didn't have any earlier file in the memory. But if you have some earlier file in the memory and you have made some modification and you need to save that, you will get an error message that data in memory may be lost. So if you don't need the previous file and anyway you want to open auto.dta, so you add an option clear. So look at the screen. You have a command sysuse auto, clear. Remember, all options are given after comma in a stata command. So if you type sysuse auto, clear, whatever file is loaded earlier in the memory will be washed out from the memory and auto will be loaded in the memory and you will get the file. This was about how to open a file that is installed along with stata. Now we'll come to learn how to know the data. For example, you have a data file installed with stata. You want to know what is in it, what type of data you have, what is their nature, what you can do with them. So you have some commands that enable you to know the data and have an insight into what the file has in it. The commands include describe, list, tabulate, etc. You will learn them one by one. So the first command is describe. It provides description of data. So you can use describe and some other commands as well in three ways. If you type only describe, if the file is open, you will have a specific type of description of all the variables. If you type describe and variable names, for example, you just opened a file auto.dta, you had variables like MPG, price, make. So if you type describe price, MPG, mileage per gallon, you will get description of these two variables. So the first way was to simply type describe, or remember, it has a shortcut D. If you just type D and enter, you will get description of all the variables. The second, if you type D or describe or any part of the word describe, for example, if you type DES, it will be treated as describe. You will write describe or D or DES and you will give some variable names like MPG, price. You will get description of those variables only. The third way is to give a range of variables. To write describe, first variable, hyphen, the last variable. First and last variable mean the first and last variable of the range of variables that you want to be displayed in description. So it depends on the order in which the variables are displayed in the variable window. For example, if you type describe price hyphen length, you will get all the variables from price to length which are available in the same order in the variable window. So there are three ways that you can type: describe alone, describe with variable names, and describe with a variable range. For example, the syntax of describe is given on the screen. As I told you, D, the letter D is the shortcut. So it is underlined. So describe, and you have a square bracket, variable list. This means variable list is optional. As I told you, you can just type describe without variable names and get description of all the variables. And this is an optional thing. You can type the variable name, so variable list is optional. Another square bracket, you have comma and memory options. You can give options here like detail, short, etc. You will come to know about them. So these are different options that are available with the command describe to know your data, to know what the data includes, what are the variable names, what type of storage they have, what type of display format they have. So as I told you in the beginning, you can work in two ways. One, you can just click, it is user friendly. So beginners feel that this is easier, but as I suggested to you, try to use the command window. So if you anyway use the graphic user interface, you can click on data, describe data, then describe data in memory or in a file. You will have a small window which will ask you which variables, which options, etc. So if you use the command window, you will just type describe and whichever variables you have required. But before that, if you look at the screen, you will find a small window open. This window opens when you use the graphic user interface. You have a list of variables, make, price, MPG, rep78, and so on. These are all the variables that are available in the auto file. If you don't have the file open, just type sysuse space auto, sysuse auto, and enter. The file will be loaded in memory. If you have a file earlier, you should type sysuse space auto, comma, clear. So it will clear the memory and then load the file auto. You will have all these variables that you are seeing in this small window. So you'll just click on each variable that you require. For example, if you click on make and on MPG and on weight and turn, you will get the description of all these variables. Later you will click on OK. So now the command window. As I told you, you will type describe or any part of the word describe. For example, D or DES or DESC. It will be treated as describe. And if you are seeing on the screen, you are seeing a command describe without variable names. This is the first way that you can use. You have a command describe make, price, and MPG. This will provide you with description of make, price, and MPG, only these three variables. And the third one, you are seeing describe make hyphen length. This will provide you description of the variables from make to length in order of the variables that are given in the variable window. So what do you get when you do this? You get an output which you are seeing. You type describe and you got an output. So first you have list of variables, but before that you have the number of observations which you are seeing, 74. Variables, 12. You have 12 variables. You have size of 3182. You have a list of variable names like make, price, MPG. You have a storage type. So str18 is string type variable with 18 characters. int is an integer variable, it is numeric variable. Similarly, if you look at headroom, float, this is a type of variable. At the end you have foreign as byte. This is a variable that requires a very small place for storage. Then you have value labels. Presently it is empty, but you can add labels to your variable. For example, your variable name is MPG and you want a good label for that to display in various tables or yourself know what the variable has in. So you can type in mileage per gallon using the command label, variable name MPG, mileage per gallon. So it will label the variable. So whenever you will type describe, you will have in front of MPG mileage per gallon. And it's easy to understand what the variable stores in, because sometimes you have very small or short names for variables. So it is better to have labels. A last thing, you have variable labels. Make and model, this was the one I was speaking of. Make and model, price, value labels are something else. So you have all this information that is provided to you when you type in describe command. At the end you are seeing sorted by foreign. So foreign is a variable. You will come to know it has two values, 0 and 1. So maybe it is sorted in the ascending order, first the 0 values, then the 1 values. So the data is sorted according to some kind of variable and then described. So the second way that you are seeing here is describe specific variables. So if you type describe make, price, and length, you have the result which you are seeing now. You have only 3 variables, make, price, and length, with their storage type, their labels, their display format, etc. One thing I want to add here is that if you type the variable names, there is a chance of spelling mistakes and the command will not function well. So it is better to do what I am going to tell you now. Look, if you have variables in the variable window and you get the cursor over the variable name, for example, if I bring the cursor on make, a small arrow appears on the left. As you are seeing, I have encircled this part. So if you click on this small arrow, the variable make's name will be typed itself automatically in the command window, including the space from other variables. So it is better to type describe and then just click on the arrow that appears against each variable name to properly functioning, for proper functioning of the command. So you don't type each variable name. Sometimes the variable names are long and you commit spelling mistakes. This is the way you can easily do your job. We can describe the variables by providing a range of variables. For example, you are seeing that describe price hyphen turn will give all the variables from price to turn. Price, MPG, rep 78, etc. The final one is turn. So from where does Stata get this information? From the variable window. If you look at the variable window, you have variables in the same order. The variables before price and the variables after turn are not displayed as a result. Describe has several options. So remember that options are typed after a comma in the command. So describe variable names, comma, the options. What the options are? You have simple, short, full names, numbers, replace, clear. All of them are options to be used with describe. For example, if you write comma simple after the description, after the describe command, you will have only variable names, the column with variable names. If you type short, only some general information will be displayed. If you type full names after comma, then the variable names would be displayed in full, because sometimes you have long variable names and they are not displayed in full. Part of them is displayed. So if you want full variable names, you will have comma full names as an option. You have numbers, you have replace, you have clear. These are all options that you can use. Just type in describe command and comma that option, you will come to know what happens. For example, you are seeing describe price MPG, comma, number, short. So I have used two options at the same time. You can use that. So numbers and short option will function and you will have the result that you are seeing. The second useful command is list. So describe provided you with little description of the variable, what are their names, what are their labels, how they are stored, how they are displayed, etc. But you want to know what are the values that are placed in. So you can use the command list. If you type L, it will be treated as list. LI, it will be treated as list. LIS will be treated as list. These are the shortcuts, because L is the minimum alphabet that you must type to make list command work. So what happens when you type list and enter? You will have list of all the variables, and you will see that it is not convenient, because sometimes you have many variables and you have jumbled rows and columns, and it's not good to understand. So you can use list in the same three ways as you did with describe. If you type only list, it will be understood that you need list of the values of all the variables in the memory. If you type list and some variable names, only those variables values will be displayed. And in the same way as you did in describe, if you type list, range of variables, that is from variable name 1 hyphen variable name n, you will have the list of values of all those variables. So let's see how to do that. If you use the graphic user interface, you will click on data, describe data, and as you are seeing, another list opens. List data. Another window will open and you will be asked to fill in the variable names and some information and options. And then you will click OK and get your result. So as you know, we clicked several times and then filled in some information. Instead, we should use the command window. So in these pull down menus, you have various options. Even if we don't discuss them in the lecture, you can just click on them and know what happens. So it's easy for you. So after you use the graphic user interface, you will have a small window. You again seeing the list of variables, you will select the variables and say OK, and you will get the result. Instead, as I told you just now, you can use list in three ways by just typing. You are seeing three of them: list, and then list make price, MPG, list make hyphen length. This is list the variables from make to length. You are seeing the result on the screen. I have just typed list and entered. So you have a table displaying make, price, MPG, and all the values that are stored in them. As you notice, below this table, you have a word more. This means all of the data has not been displayed. If you press any button, the data will scroll up and you will be able to use them. But if you have large number of observations, instead of clicking on more or pressing a space bar or any other button, you can just press Q for quitting. So you will quit and you will be able to run other commands. So this is not a convenient way, because if you have many variables, it is difficult to understand. So if you type list, price and make, you have a list of only price and make. It's more convenient if you have only the variables you require. Similarly, if you type list price hyphen trunk, you have only the variables from price to trunk in the order that they are displayed in the variable window. You can use conditions with this list statement, even with describe statement, with almost all statements, that is in and if. Let's see what this in and if can do. So in the first case, you are seeing list price MPG in 1/5. If you noticed previously, we have serial numbers of the observations, the first row, the second row, the third row. 1/5 means list the values in row 1 to row 5. If I write 11 to 15, then only serial number, row number 11 to 15 of these two variables will be displayed. You can also use if statements. For example, list price MPG, if price is greater than 4,000. So only those cases will be displayed. So in the second example, you are seeing list price MPG in 16/20. This will only display row number 16 to 20 according to the sorting you have done in Stata. If you haven't sorted, then you must have noticed that the data was sorted by the variable foreign. So look at the if condition. List price MPG if price is less than 4,000. So you have a display from 3 to 68 in several rows, like 3, 14th row, 18th row, 19th row, and in all of them the price is below 4,000. These are the only cases that are available for prices below 4,000. Similarly, if you type list price MPG in 1 to 20, if price is less than 4,000, you will get another set where price is always less than 4,000 and you have only selected rows 1 to 20. So Stata will look at rows 1 to 20 and display all the rows where price is less than 4,000, and you will have your results quick and fast as you require. So you just learnt very useful commands to know your data. One was describe and second was list. Since it was the first lecture, so I went in detail. It was the first lecture in Stata, so I went in detail. From next time, we'll speed up. We'll come to know some other commands like summarize, etc. So for today, thank you very much.